A former Today Show staff member is detailing an alleged in-office affair with Matt Lauer that transpired 16 years ago. In a piece for Variety published on Thursday, the former production assistant at NBC News says she began receiving messages from Lauer just weeks after she landed her first anchor position in her native West Virginia while she was still at NBC. With just weeks to go before leaving for her new job, Addie Zanone says that she received a message in which Lauer told her, quote, "You look fantastic." Lauer was in his 40s and newly married to wife Annette Roque at the time. She says that she thanked him and asked if she could, quote, get a little advice from him prior to her departure from the network, to which Lauer agreed. Another message from Lauer with another compliment followed shortly after the duo set up lunch the next day. Zanone tells the publication that her intentions were purely professional, but what it turned into was a, quote, opportunity for him to come on to me. She goes on to add, quote, it was flattering, confusing, overwhelming. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do with it. He was clearly trying to guide the conversation. He was there to hit on me and manipulate the situation, and I fell for it. And when they left, Lauer allegedly told her, quote, you leave first and I'll leave after. And no lunch I'd ever had at Today had anyone suggested we leave separately, as if something was up. That's her quote. When they arrived back at the office, Lauer allegedly told her to meet him in the studio dressing room where their sexual encounters began. Over the next few weeks, the two would meet several other times. Zanone also details a time that Lauer allegedly asked her to come to his office, where he pushed the now infamous button from his desk that locked the door. Zanone says his secretary was sitting just outside, and Lauer, quote, wanted to do stuff, but she declined. The last time that Zanone claims that she saw Lauer was at the 2000 Democratic National Convention in California, when he allegedly told her to meet him in a nearby bathroom, where they proceeded to have, quote, an encounter. For Zanone, who is now married and shares 2 children with her husband, the experience was so traumatic that she says she ended up quitting her job and entering into a state of depression. After leaving her broadcast position, she enlisted in the Army and has since been deployed to Iraq, as well as working as a correspondent and field producer at Access Hollywood. She goes on to explain, quote, what happened with Matt held me hostage. I was under his spell. It was all-consuming. I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate. She also addresses the idea of power and consent in the piece. She says, quote, even though my situation with Matt was consensual, I ultimately felt like a victim because of the power dynamic. He knew that I was leaving and that there was no better prey than somebody who was going to be gone. He went after the most vulnerable and the least powerful, and those were the production assistants and the interns. She includes that she believes Lauer felt like he was untouchable. Although Zanone says it was not an easy choice to come forward with her story, she says she did it to, quote, squash any doubts about the allegations from other women against Matt Lauer. I want these women to know that I believe them, she says. I want to help empower them, and collectively, we have a voice to change things. Matt took advantage of his power. It's sickening. It breaks my heart that he did this for so long.